Hello there, Tarot Tube, gamers, and curious folk. I'm glad you're here. Please hit the like button if you enjoy this video, you got something out of it. It helps other people find things that they're interested in. All right, so when I saw that there was a tag out there, Dice and Decks, I said, hold my tea, I'm going in. And I made a video yesterday and I left so much stuff out that I had to go back, make myself a little script, and this one's going to be more organized. So that's just your little opening shot. Look at these cute minis. Now I'm going to take these away and talk about the history of games to divination, because that's really relevant to this. So now we know that tarot came from an Italian card game, tarocchi, this one. And that is the correct way to say it, tarocchi. And it evolved into what most of us now see as the RWS system, but also there's the Toth or the Thoth, however you prefer to say it. I don't really care. But you can see this is really, from a different era, and these aesthetics may not vibe with you, as they don't with a lot of people. So we have a ton of modern tarot decks. So it's no longer about playing a game. It's now just about divination. Although you can play games with tarot decks. We're going to talk about that later. But there's a big connection between games and divination. And that's why I just wanted to touch on that. So that's true for both decks as well as dice. So when you think of dice, a lot of us think of Dungeons and Dragons. And here's our little player handbook. And there's the dice that we use for Dungeons and Dragons. We have a set of polyhedral dice. They each have a different number on them, total. And depending on what's going on, you're going to roll a specific die to get your result. Now, how did this come to be? Well, there was first just rolling dice. It was a luck game, and that became divination. And these dice might have been made of a lot of different things historically. Probably bone. I haven't been able to find a definitive answer to that, but I believe it. Metal, wood, stone. But modern dice, most of our modern dice are made of resin. And so when you think about these kinds of dice, the ones I just showed you, as well as this, these are made out of resin. These have inclusions. See how they've got little things in there? They're also made out of acrylic. I've seen big foam ones that can bounce that are kind of fun for kids or kids the young at heart. And they're also, you can make them with your 3D printer. Sorry, I had a hard time getting that out. Now, there are a lot of hobbyists who are making their own with resins. And if you go on Etsy or just any kind of a search, you can find your own dice making kits with resin. I can only imagine that it smells bad, but yeah. So you can make your own dice. You don't have to buy them. And where do I buy my dice? Well, let me just show you my dice while we talk about this. So I think I got my history. So cards, it went games to divination. Dice, I think it was probably a little bit of both from the start. Some games and some divination from the start. That would be my best guess. Here's my collection. Let's see. We got this, and this is how I keep it. I just keep it in a plain old cardboard box, and I just keep them in here. Most of the sets are in these bags, so I'll get this out of the way so you can see it. It seems like the thing that people are doing is just talking about what they've got. So I guess I'll just make a big old mess here. So these are a set of 8-sided dice that I got for a bard character who was able to give out things to other people in the party. So I got a set so that I can manually share that when I use that bardic ability. I have 2 sets here that are actually from the Harry Potter world, the Hogwarts world. I don't really truck with JT or JK anymore. you've gone too far. But these are pretty beautiful, and they have this interesting piece. Look at these 4s. So usually a 4, well, we'll get to it later. I'll hold this out so you can see. Usually a 4 is like this little pyramid, this sharp pyramid, but this is a unique shape. And these are kind of gorgeous, and whenever I pull them out, people are like, oh, what's that? So these were also gifts. So I have one for Hufflepuff and one for Ravenclaw. So there's that. And I already showed you these. These are all, so far, these are all resin dice. Now, these are kind of inexpensive. This next little group I'm going to show you. When you run your own games, sometimes people don't have dice. So I got these kind of basic, inexpensive ones. Let's see, is that the only, is that it? Yeah. So I got these little basic, inexpensive ones to share with players who maybe show up for a game and don't have them. Also, they're really easy to read. We haven't talked about that yet. Some of the really gorgeous dice, and I'll show you in a minute, they're not so easy to read. They're really pretty, but not so easy to read. But you get something like this, which are really inexpensive. And look how easy they are. You can really see the number. You don't have to do a second glance on that. And so with that, let's see, I already showed you the minis. Oh, here's another basic, very basic. See how easy it is to read them? I don't know how that got in there. We'll fix that later. Yep. Now this is my second set of dice. I got these, and these are also a nice example of easy to read dice. So if you've got a dark color with a light number on it, that's easier to see. And we know this from marketing people and signage. They just know that this is how our eyes work. That's easier to see. Now, my first set of dice. My very first set of dice was for a Harengon player character that I played. Yeah, it was my first campaign. And look at this great box. We had a table that just did not have enough room. So I had this little box I got. I think this is the name of the company. Whoops. And I found it on Etsy. And it's wooden. It's very satisfying because it has this magnetic close. And the way I used it was you could put your phone in here. So if you were using an online D&D character or maps or something, you could look at it there. And then this was my little tray that I could roll in, and here are my dice. And this is a fabulous example of gorgeous dice that are hard to read, right? Like I would roll these, and then I'd have to carefully pick it up to check the number, make sure that I was seeing it correct. And I even had to go over this so I could easily see, because I get my 20s and my 12s mixed up sometimes, especially look at this. There's not, the size difference isn't that big, right? They're really similar. So I had to do that so I could see the numbers better. These have got inclusions. These have got gemstones in them. And after I ordered them, I was like, and see, it's a little rough. They're not great. That's the thing with resin dice. They don't always come out smooth and even. They have flaws. Excuse me, I had to have some tea. As do we all have flaws. And my concern, once I got them and I had them in my hand, I was like, oh, there's so much stuff in here. Are these going to be evenly weighted, or are some of these going to, like tend to go in one direction or another? And I played for months with these, and I did get different numbers, but that's an ongoing concern for me with dice that have inclusions in them. Like if it weighs something and it's over on one side, well, wouldn't that, influence how the dice roll? Which brings me to a subject that I did not see covered in the other videos that I watched. Dice jail. Dice jail is a real thing for gamers. And in Dice jail, you have some kind of container. Go ahead and search it. You'll see. People are very, very clever. I use toilet paper roll for my dice jail. And if I'm playing with a set of dice and they are just really being bad, I put them in dice jail. And I take out another set because we don't have time for bad rolls. Am I right? Now we get to my most gorgeous of all. Do I have this right side up? There we go. So look at this beautiful tin. We've got a dragon. It does say D and D, D and D and D, which I don't really know what that means. Again, I did find these on Etsy. Etsy is my preferred. If I'm going to buy something online, I'd rather get it from Etsy than anywhere else. I don't know, it's just my preference. I'd rather work with an artisan directly than some other way. And then sometimes you'll find somebody that you like and turns out they have a website and you go there and the prices might be better. Anyway, these are metal dice. Metal dice are very sharp, very beautiful, very shiny. And this I got for springtime play because look at our little cherry blossoms. This is my Sakura dice. Now, if you drop these on wood, you're going to get everybody's attention at the table. They're loud. They are loud, especially on a plastic table. And I was playing with people on a plastic table, so that's when I had to get a dice tray. Up to that point, I would just roll on the table. If they fell off the table, all right, we'll just see. So there we go. Now it's nice and quiet. I roll them on this. Ta-da! So that's kind of an introduction to me and dice and cards. Now I did do 2 videos about this last year, and I will link those below. You can go take a look at them. And so as I'm off topic, are you liking this so far? Give me a like. I really, really appreciate it. Trying to build my channel. All right. This is my favorite deck for playing with these. So now we're segueing into the decks. And it's because I was playing a Herringon, remember? A rabbit. So I would play with these and these metal die. And I loved it. And sometimes when I was at table, I would offer to do tarot readings for my fellow players. And I also did tarot readings for my character during play. You know, it would be like we'd go into a new situation. I'd pull cards for my character, who is named Clementia, of course. So, yep, she had a dragon familiar, and that was a good character. She's dead now, though. So, yeah, it had to happen. All right, we've segued now into cards. And now, a lot of people who've done this before really got into the pairing. My personal feeling for me, my use, is I don't care. I'll use any dice with any deck if I'm in the mood to do that. However, I thought I would show you a couple of decks that I think, like, the synergy is good. The RPG Tarot deck. Now, so far, we've only been talking about D&D. There are a lot of systems, and I'm going to get to that in a moment, because D&D is actually not my favorite system. But look at these cards. So this is, if you want a deck, this is mass market, it's readily available, it's inexpensive, it's got your full RWS coloring, but instead it's got modern and fantasy characters, because that's how we roll. And it's very easy to read because it's just really straightforward RWS imagery, and the colors are going to feel very, you know that. You know that. So I'm going to talk about a couple of other systems, and then I'm going to talk about how we use dice in games and in divination. Did I say systems? Decks. So I was trying to think, what can I show you that you didn't see in other videos? And this, I think, is the best one. I've got a lot of decks. This has artwork by Yoshitani, who I really love. She also did a deck of fairy tales. I'm not going to pull that up right now. But here's one that is, I think, maybe not a lot of people see this. So this is the Deck of Many Things guidebook. Deck of Many Things is a item. In D&D. But you could pull this into any role-playing game. And look at these cards. Let's just look at these cards. So these cards, look at these backs. I backed this on Kickstarter, and oh man, every day I had to wait killed me because I love her art so much. Let's see, what can we do? We'll do this. So this deck has got what I think of as boons and banes, but that's not what she calls it. She calls it dark and light. So let's see, I don't want to misrepresent what she's, overworld and underworld is what she calls them. See, and it's just gorgeous, and it's all about balance, right? So with these cards, you're pulling on things from the fantasy RPGs, as well as I'll try to get far enough. You'll see some things that look like they may be coming from tarot, like the Jester, maybe that's the Fool. Death is death. So you can see that they're not matched up right now. I just have them separated because I was using them in a game and I needed to have them separated. So there's sun and moon. Anyway, aren't they beautiful? Fabulous. Now let's talk about how you could use dice with cards, and we are going to go to her guidebook. So in general, when you're rolling dice to get some kind of read, and you're using tables. So I'm going to bring out two. These are just RPG table guides with different subjects, obviously. Don't worry, we're going to get back to this. I like this guy. You can, I don't know if he calls himself Moshe or Moses. I don't know how he pronounces it, but he does a lot of solo RPG content. He's prolific, and he's got a good YouTube channel. You can look him up. If I remember, I'll link it below. So this is actually my favorite easy book of tables. So what you do is you ask a question, and then you roll some dice. Now in this one, he's assuming that you have the D&D set. So let's see, I'm playing a game, and I've entered a new area on the map. So and I don't know what's there. So I'm gonna pull my D12. Remember I said it's hard to tell the difference for me between D12 and D20. Let me grab my D12. Is this, no, that's a 20. Here's my 12. All right, so here's my 12. I see my 12. I'm gonna roll this. Whoop. Okay, it went off the table and landed kind of unevenly, and that's called cocked. When your dice don't really land flat, that's called cocked. So there's a little term for you. I'll roll it over here. Be more careful. 9, right? We got the dot, tells us 9. Ancient ruins. So I've used this table, and that's told me I'm going into ancient ruins. Now, some divination systems work on that method. You've got tables, and you're going to roll your dice. You're going to look it up, and that's what that number means. So Lisa Papez and Don Michelle, the system that they made, that works like that. It's not the system that I use. I use something different, which is about modifiers. We'll get to that. But now, oh, tea is so good. Let's talk about this Fable Maker's Deck of Many Things guidebook. So what she says, how you use this, is you ask yourself a question. So this could be in-game, or it could be divination. It could be whatever you want it to be. And then then you're going to roll dice on that. So let's say, what emotions are influencing your perspective right now? That's number 3. Then what we're going to do says, Seeds of Change questions explore the themes of the cards in more detail. Overworld cards come with seeds to address immediate, wait, have I got this on screen? Yes. Immediate and pressing issues, that's these. And Underworld Seeds of Change pose questions to help you look beneath the surface with a new perspective. That's these. When you draw a card, you can choose the Seeds of Change question that most resonates with you in the context of the problem you're trying to solve. You can also go through them one by one and consider them in turn, or you can roll a die to determine which one needs your attention at random. Okay? So again, you need a D20. So this is the terminology, the symbol that you'll see. D stands for dice, and the number is how many sides are on that. So that's the way it works. Remember to draw inspiration from the art on the card when you're reflecting the seeds. The art is as important as the guiding question in the booklet. If you want to explore your situation further, draw another card and work through the seeds in whichever way resonates most with you. So this is a very, like unified system. I did not back with dice because I have enough dice. Thank you very much. But if you go on the website, so this is Hit Point Press. Hit Point Press does a lot of things, cards, dice, role-playing games. Really good resource. So, yeah. And there's a lot of, is information the right word? There's a fair amount of videos out there about their things. And we will take one look at this deck, the Fable Makers, because it's related. This is my buddy, Hit Point Press, who I like. Different artist, Kami Aeropagita. So I have these separated, and these are, I hope the camera will show you how these move. They're animated. And they have several animated sets of cards. They've got spells, townsfolk. I got the townsfolk for games that I run. So I separate these into majors, face cards, which is my new word for court cards, because no kings, hashtag no kings, and then minors. Now we're going to get onto my system, how I use dice, because it ties in to the game that I created that I'm calling Tarot Tales. And in that game, instead of using dice, we use cards. And we use a system that's based on the Powered by the Apocalypse system. So let me show you a couple games that are powered by the Apocalypse system. I put my books over here. I've got to go get them. Here we go. So Powered by the Apocalypse doesn't use the D&D set. It uses D6s, specifically 2 D6s. And there are several of these worlds. There's Root, which was my favorite one. Played a really fun campaign with that. Monsters of the Week, which I also love because every week you fight a new monster. And this was my first Powered by the Apocalypse game, Thirsty Sword Lesbians. With these, Evil Hat Production, I think Evil Hat Production does almost all of the Powered by the Apocalypse game. Oh no, Leader, because they teamed up with the board game company to make this one. So Root was first a board game, and then some brilliant people said, wait a second, let's make that a sandbox. Let's play games. So how do I do my games? Let's get some D6s out. We'll just mix and match. We'll take this one and this. Well, let's take 2 of these. So the way I use my dice in my card reading is I use them as modifiers, which is actually how we use dice in gaming. They modify whatever it is that you are intending to do. Well, there's the table thing, but then usually when you're rolling as a player, most of the time, you're rolling to modify whatever you're doing. So it's like, I am going to try to open this door, and then the game master will say, roll to see if you're successful. So in Powered by the Apocalypse, you have a scale of success from 1 to 12. All right, so you roll 2 6s, you add them up. Here I got 4, not impressive at all. And a 4 means I didn't do so well. So it depends on how the game master is feeling, how important this is, and that's up to them. I'm going to drink some tea. They may say, okay, you walk up to the door, you try to open it, it doesn't open. Because I got a low number, they have the option of doing something to me like, and the doorknob is electrified. You got a little shock, your health goes down 1 point. Something like that. If I had rolled 2 6s, wait, did I? Yeah. If I had rolled high, then I would have gotten a better score, right? But I didn't. I did not roll high. Wait a second, I read that wrong. I forgot the symbol is 6 on these dice. I forgot that. So I did roll higher. So maybe I didn't. That was a funny mistake. Let's try one with, no, let's not do that. We've got it. We got it. Okay, so that's the basic idea. So now let's go back to this. Let's say, let's do a little reading. I have not actually done my reading for today. Well, I did a reading, but it wasn't for myself. It was for the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's say that I want a reading for today, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to say a 3-card reading. I'm using an oracle deck. Why not? And I'm going to do morning, afternoon, evening, and I'm going to look for some insight into those 3 times, and then I'm going to roll dice on top of them. So this is how I'm doing it. Morning, afternoon, evening. Okay, now let's see, do I have enough D6s to do this? What do I do with my bag of D6? Did I empty it out? Because it would be nice to just leave them out if I can. No, I don't see them. Okay, so we're going to go crazy. So I've got this one, and what will I mix with this? I normally do not mix, but here we are. Oh, I know where it is. My D6s are downstairs because it was for my reading. By the way, that's a reel. So if you want to see what I predicted for the Philadelphia game today, go there. Okay. So see what I said about some dice are really hard to read? This is a 3, but what the heck? Okay, so I got an 8 here. So this is a pretty big number for the morning energy. This is even bigger. This is 11. And let me get 2 more. And this is 8. So in terms of what's kind of like important, where I might want to put my energy to the day, it looks like afternoon is more important than morning and evening. Although, look, these are perfectly balanced. So here we had why. We're not going to get into the whole meaning of these cards. Colette Baron Reed, this is a fabulous oracle, and her guidebook is, I rarely read intuitively with her deck. I just read what she says because it's so brilliant. Not for you, so I would put a lot of energy into that. So I'll just read this one because I did get a hit just now for that. So for this one, this is where a lot of energy is going. This is afternoon. Afternoon is when I work, and I'm going to say that this means I need to stay grounded and understand that if somebody else is like winging out about something, or they're being negative, or they're like in their thing, because I work with other people, that's not for me. I need to stay centered, stay me, know what's mine and what's not mine, and do that. Yeah. And then all that glitters, what does that mean? I think I want to just like follow my heart. Like, what do I feel like I want to do this evening? Because I have some time to myself this evening. So yeah, but the morning's already passed. I spent the whole morning outside gardening, which is why my hands look like that. Yep. So that's how I use dice in a divinatory reading. I'm going to have fun trying to figure all this out after I finish filming this. I've got quite a mess in front of me. All right. Now, people talked about solo RPGs using dice and cards and that. I'm going to have some more tea because, yeah, tea. And let me introduce you. So there is Corico, which I think everybody talked about and which I have, and which is very, very good. Let me introduce you to Brambletek. So if you like critters going on adventures, and I really do, this one is so fun. This was a Kickstarter. I backed it. I got the hard copy. I'm pretty sure, because as part of my backing, I'm pretty sure I definitely got PDFs, and I'm pretty sure you can just buy the PDF. I think so. I hope so. I'm looking for my name. So look, I backed it twice because I got one for a gift. Yep, there I am. I got a special thank you. So that was a frolic and a detour. How do we use this? You need a journal or notebook, a standard deck of 52 playing cards, or you could use your tarot deck, take out the majors, and a character sheet. Definitely the journal character sheet stuff, you can get PDF. So it's their website. This is Crossed Paths. They also have a Discord group that you could join, and it's fairly active. People were very, very enthusiastic as they were developing the game. So this is the journal that I got with it. It doesn't all fit in frame. Look how nice it is. It's not real leather, of course, but, you know, we imagine. And this is how we do this. First, we're going to make a character. I typically will make, when I'm playing role-playing games by myself, I will often make two characters so that I can interact. I can play, play them off of each other. And then we've got a little guide for the cards and the dice, your player turns, what you're going to do, this, right? And then your journal. So you've got a 2-page journal, one for the events that happened and your recovery phase, and then your story that you get to write. Now, what I like about a game like this is it's an open world. It's a sandbox game, which means I can play it as much or as little as I like. There's no fixed story that I must go to do. Now, here are tables, right? So you're going to pull cards to see what happens. And then this is it. It's fabulous. I love this. And like I said, you can just take out your aces. No, you've got aces. Take out your majors and use this. Isn't this fun? So even though it's made for cards, you don't have to use playing cards. Although you certainly may if you like. Because playing cards, cartomancy, that ties into what I was talking about with the history of dice and cards. They were games, and then they turned to divination. So I hope that I introduced a few new things to think about. Let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, I did miss something. So these are all like RPG things, but there are games like 20 Strong, which is by Chip Theory Games. They usually have chips in all of their games. This one, though, it just has the one chip, which is this one, which is pretty cool. But there are lots of games that have their own set of dice, like this one. Now, because I know this game, I kind of know, what these different symbols mean. I could, if I liked, I could make something up and use that. Here is another set of dice from a new Lord of the Rings game called Fate of the Fellowship. And if you look at it, the story. There's the Eye of Sauron. Look at those trees. Here's a tree with this. You're safe if you're in one of your safe spaces. If you're not safe. Here's what you roll for fighting. This one, you lose a player. Your opponent loses a player, right? Here's that little safe space again. So if you know what these things mean, you could theoretically play the game and then pull these dice out and make your own system. So yeah, it's not just this stuff. There's a lot. Yeah, now I think I've said everything I wanted to say. I'm looking at my script. Yep. So yeah, I would love to have some bone dice. I would love to have some wood dice, but I would need to feel them. And where can you go to feel dice before you buy them? You can go to crafts fairs. You can go to Ren fairs. You can go to gaming conventions. And people who make dice and sell them often have booths there. Or there's like a middleman person they've got their assortment of goods, and some of them are handmade dice from somebody that they do business with. But almost every Ren fair I've been to, definitely every gaming convention I've been to, there's somebody there selling dice that they make. And you can make a contact with that person and even, say, oh, I want them this way or that way. And with people getting more 3D printers and playing with these resin kits, you could learn how to do it yourself. Or maybe your friend is very crafty and they could start making them. So there's lots of possibilities. I would encourage you to stay away from that big old company that treats its workers so very poorly. You know the one, starts with an A. There's no reason to fund Rocket Man. Find a human being that, you get a vibe off of them that feels good. So that's it. Have fun gaming. Have fun with your divination practice. And if it's not fun, rethink it. That's me. Hit the like button on the way out if you got anything out of this. I really appreciate you staying to the end. Bye-bye.